Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at Mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Are you aware that gender dysphoria diagnoses among American youth soared from roughly 15,000 in 2017 to more than 42,000 by 2021? Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, and with me is co-host Alara Skye for a direct look at what a new federal review says about gender-affirming medical care for minors.
Thanks, Ethan. My goal today is to unpack that 409-page review so you can separate data from rhetoric. We'll examine why puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones are now prescribed after minimal evaluation, even though the report flags serious evidence gaps and lifelong risks.
First, the scope. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services graded existing studies as very low quality. Most were small, uncontrolled, or too short to measure lasting outcomes. Crucially, investigators found no strong proof that medical transition improves mental health or prevents suicide among young people.
That matters because the usual claim is that these drugs are life-saving. Yet the review says suicide in gender-distressed youth is statistically rare, while the interventions carry permanent consequences. When evidence is weak and harm is lasting, caution, not acceleration, should guide care.
Puberty blockers are marketed as reversible pause buttons. In truth, halting sex hormones during critical growth windows undermines bone density, shortens adult height, and may blunt cognitive development. More than 70,000 adverse events linked to these drugs have been reported over the past 2 decades.
And blocker use almost always leads to cross-sex hormones. Girls may receive testosterone doses up to 100 times natural levels, thickening blood and stressing the heart. Boys on high-dose estrogen face clotting risks and testicular damage. Both scenarios threaten fertility, sexual function, and metabolic health.
The review also challenges the child-led model now common in clinics. Some centers move from first visit to medication within a single 2-hour session, skipping thorough psychological screening. That shortcut can miss anxiety, depression, trauma, or autism traits driving gender distress.
Compare that to the original Dutch protocol. In the 1990s, puberty blockers were reserved for around age 12 after sustained distress, cross-sex hormones at 16, and surgery at 18, each step requiring emotional stability and family support. Many clinics have abandoned those safeguards.
Worldwide, clinicians now report rapid-onset gender dysphoria, cases where teens, especially girls, suddenly declare a transgender identity alongside peers or online influencers. This pattern underscores the need for extended evaluation because transient exploration can be mistaken for permanent incongruence.
Premature medicalization blocks our view of natural resolution. Historically, most children who disliked their sex reconciled with their bodies by adulthood. One German study found over 70% of teenage girls dropped the dysphoria diagnosis within a few years.
Despite that history, aggressive intervention still claims institutional backing. The review describes a small, ideologically aligned network within larger medical groups amplifying certainty while silencing dissent. Researchers who question the narrative can face professional retaliation.
That ideological drive links to a broader transhumanist vision, as investigative journalist Jennifer Billick notes. Teaching children to distrust their biology normalizes the idea that the body is optional, paving the way for technologies like artificial wombs or machine integration.
Parents, therefore, stand as the first line of defense. Affirming your child's biological reality early inoculates against the notion that sex is changeable. At the same time, Gear Up with Facts, Dr. Miriam Grossman's Lost in Transnation, offers practical strategies for countering misleading narratives.
When speaking with healthcare providers, insist on transparency. Ask about the absolute risks of bone loss, cardiovascular events, and infertility. Demand long-term outcome data, not short-term satisfaction surveys. If a clinic can't supply robust evidence, you have every right to refuse consent.
Bone health deserves special focus. Puberty is when up to 90% of adult bone mass forms. Delaying that process, even briefly, leaves your skeleton underbuilt. Some studies show incomplete recovery of density even after hormones resume, increasing lifelong fracture risk.
Neurological development is another concern. Animal data indicate that suppressing sex hormones during adolescence disrupts brain circuits for decision-making and emotion regulation. Preliminary imaging of males on high estrogen shows reduced brain volume, an early signal demanding caution.
Cross-sex hormones also reshape reproductive organs. Estrogen exposure in males impairs sperm production, while testosterone in females can cause breast tissue fibrosis and ovarian atrophy. These structural changes persist even if treatment stops.
Cardiovascular strain compounds the danger. Elevated hematocrit from high testosterone ups stroke and heart attack risk, while estrogen-induced clotting factors raise odds of venous thromboembolism. These are documented complications already appearing in young adults.
Ethically, rushing identity-shaping choices breaches informed consent standards. The review states plainly that approving blockers or hormones without ensuring full understanding puts children at unnecessary, disproportionate risk of harm.
Families often feel pressured to act fast, yet the review clarifies that suicide is not inevitable and alternatives, counseling, watchful waiting, addressing coexisting conditions, can ease distress without permanent interventions.
Consider this. More than 90% of youths who start blockers progress to hormones, showing the pause button narrative is misleading. Once puberty is interrupted, full transition becomes almost inevitable.
Fertility timelines make reversibility even less credible. Eggs and sperm mature during mid-puberty. If that window closes under medication, biological parenthood may later be impossible or require experimental procedures. Families deserve that unvarnished truth.
So, where does that leave you? First, recognize that loud advocacy doesn't equal solid science. The HHS umbrella review, at the top of the evidence hierarchy, signals serious uncertainty and known harms.
Second, arm yourself with reliable resources. Read the federal report's summary, review documented side effects, and study Dr. Grossman's guidance. Knowledge dismantles intimidation. When you speak from data, pressure to accept rapid medicalization loses its hold.
Your practical challenge this week is this. Within the next 7 days, have one clear conversation affirming biological reality with a young person you care about, and commit to reading at least the executive summary of the HHS review so you can question any clinician from a position of evidence.
Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.